Please give it up for Alan Pledger.
Ooh, it's bright out here.
Very bright.
Alrighty. This is weird. Sorry guys, so I'm a last second sub. I was asked to do this yesterday and I'm completely winging it. So let's give this a shot. And I'm gonna do a live demo and the internet's spotty, so no promises here. I'm gonna just sit down here, if that's cool. And then I need to get the Wi-Fi working, which if the Wi-Fi doesn't work, we may be out of luck here. Let me see here, 1 second, guys. All right, cool. Okay. Are you guys able to see my screen? No? What are you guys looking at too? Is it? Yeah? Oh, it's up there. Okay, cool. All right. And then let me make sure that it's not too small. Display settings. The heck? All right, well, let's see. Whatever, we'll make this work. And then let's see if the Wi-Fi is working now. Well, let's try tethering. All right, here we go. Please work. All right, nice. Okay, we're in business. Can you all hear me? We're good? Awesome. So my name's Alan. I'm with Makeswift, and we are the proud website sponsors of Render, and we just released a new feature, actually today, that allows developers to integrate Makeswift into their Next.js apps to make it visually editable. Do we have any Next.js developers here in the audience? Awesome, cool. So first thing I want to do is I want to show you a little page that I made. It's a really simple page. Don't worry, I'll magnify everything so you can see what's going on here. And let's hide this real quick. Are you guys able to see this okay? Yeah? So this is just like a very simple page. It has this accordions component here. And yeah, it's hard-coded. So have you guys integrated with headless CMSs before? Quick show of hands. Anybody here? Yeah, yep. So when you integrate with a headless CMS, layout's usually out of your control. So what Makeswift does is we allow you to integrate at the component level. So this page right here has this little accordions component that we've created. This accordions component is up here. I just want to show it really quickly. The main thing to note here is that there's nothing Makeswift related about this component. This is just a regular React component. This could be any component in your existing site that you're managing. And what I want to do is I want to make it so that way my marketing team can take that component and drop it into the website, and they can control it. Think about it as like custom-made Lego blocks for your marketing team to build with. So this accordions component takes a couple props here. It takes an icon color, which is just a string value, and then some items, which is just an array of these objects here with a title description. And this is what it looks like. So they got animations in them, they're interactive. But right now, if you were managing this site, it'd be pretty difficult to hook this into a headless CMS. You'd probably have to refactor your code to make it sit on top of a schema. And I think there's a much easier way for us to do this. So let me delete that real quick. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna register this into Makeswift, and we're gonna let you drop it into a page. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna import the React runtime from Makeswift runtime React, and then I'm gonna import my accordions component from components here. And then all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go React runtime.register component, accordions. And then I'm going to give it a type. I'm going to give it a label. This label is what you're going to see in the UI. And then we're going to give it some props. And then to start with, we're just going to give it a class name prop. So these props are what the component expects, right? So inside of here, this component, let's see, where's the accordion? Right here. It takes a class name, items, icon color. So we're just going to pass in a class name, and we're going to use the style control from Makeswift. So I just imported style from Makeswift runtime controls here. Let me get rid of this so you can see. And we're going to save this. And again, live demos, please bear with me here. All right, so I'm going to come back over to this about page that I have, and we're going to refresh this. Zoom in a little bit so you can see what's going on. All right, nice. Let's go over, yeah, so we have this about page. All right, let me go to the frequently asked questions page. All right, cool. So we're on the FAQ. We should see accordions here. Boom, nice. We can drop it in there. Nothing to look at right now, right? Because there's no items being passed into it. So what I actually want to do is I want to make that items prop, which is an array of objects, configurable. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to map to the items property, and then we have a control called a list control. And a list control allows you to basically pass in arbitrary shapes and items as an array into this component. So we're going to give it a type, which is the type of like what each item in the array is. And then each item is an object, so we're going to use the shape control. So what's cool about this is you can actually compose these together. So if you have an object and that object has certain keys that are arrays, or if you have an array of objects, you can basically define arbitrary JSON structures. So what's cool about this is that you don't have to refactor your prop API to integrate into something like this. So this shape is going to have a type, and then we have three props here for each item. So we have a title, which is going to be a text input. Then we have a description, which is going to be another text input. And then we have a property called open, which is a Boolean, so it's a checkbox. And then we'll just give these some quick labels. So this will be title. This will be description. And then this is going to be is open. And then we'll save this. Actually, we'll give this one a label too. We'll call this items or questions, because we're going to use this for the frequently asked questions, and save this. So now I'm going to refresh this. And I'm going to hope that I didn't forget anything. So, all right, now let's select our accordions. And see, now we have this little panel on the right-hand side here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me magnify. So that list control, all of those controls map to UI controls in the sidebar. So I just dropped that in here, and then now I can start adding in questions. So here I can say, like, what were my stupid dad joke questions I had in here? What do you call a lazy kangaroo? A pouch potato. All right, so I would come into here, and then, where was I? And then I would add, you know, what do you call a lazy kangaroo, whatever, you guys get this, right? So what's cool about this is that this component now is something that you don't have to ever deal with putting into a page. It's something that's a building block that can be dropped into any page, and then the layout is handled by our visual builder. So as opposed to something like a headless CMS where you're usually disjointed from the page itself, you're not previewing the page as you're editing. You know, you usually as a developer have to get called in to do any type of responsive changes. This component itself is also just responsive, right? So when you guys code up these components, you're thinking about responsiveness. This is not something that you now have to think about with your marketing team. They can just take that component, drop it in. I actually need to update one last thing here. So you can do a get item label. And then what we want to do is we want to say in the sidebar here that we'll use the item.title here. Otherwise, we'll use untitled here. So that'll make it so that way we can actually see the title. You know, how much does it cost? Does that make sense to everybody? Can I get a quick show of hands to see if anyone's still with me here? Awesome. Cool. So that's a simple example. Let's really quickly add in one other thing. So let's do a color. So we had an icon color property here. All we're going to do is we're just going to grab the color control, give it a label of icon color, and then hit save. Refresh this. Ooh, it's hot. Roasting out here. You guys are in the shade. All right, so yeah, we have this questions and icon color, and then all this is doing is changing that plus icon. So again, when we're thinking about this, we use this for our own site. So if you go to www.makeswift.com, we just released a new site today. I got some teammates in the audience who worked really hard this past week to get it up, and we're using this internally right now. And what's really cool about this is that the developer who is building the components and our designer who is actually building the pages were able to collaborate on the interface that they wanted, and only add the props that they care about controlling, nothing more, nothing less. And that really made it so that way we can take anybody on our team, from not our marketer who doesn't know much about how to use many design tools, they can come in here and start making changes. So the last step here, we got this little frequently asked questions component where we can brand it and change it. Let's build the rest of the page. So I have some global components here that I've already made. So I'm gonna drop in a nav bar here. Oh, actually, that's the wrong one, the header. I'm gonna drop in a header, and then I'm gonna drop in a CTA section, and then I'm gonna drop in a footer. Cool, so now we have a little frequently asked questions section here. I'll put some content in here so it looks kind of full, and then you can change these properties to open and close stuff. So that's a basic example. Let's move on to a little bit more advanced with async data fetching. So I'm gonna flip over and show you guys another component that we have. So just to kind of up the ante a little bit, if you will, on the types of components you can integrate. Because this is your Next.js app, right? This app I'm running here, I'm running locally, and I've brought Makeswift into this Next.js app. And then inside of Makeswift, I'm actually iframing in, so you'll come into here into code components and you'll put in your local host. So that's how this is all working right now, there's no smoke and mirrors happening. And I'm gonna go over to the globe here. And this globe component is using React 3 Fiber. If you guys haven't used this, it's a set of React bindings that sit on top of Three.js that make it really easy to do cool stuff like this. And I want to put it into my site. So this is what the code looks like for that page I'm showing you right now. So it takes a bunch of properties, which I'll show you in the code itself, but the main thing right here is that there's an array of locations. It might be hard to see on the screen, but there's actually little beacons that are pinging in Atlanta and New York right there. And that's just an array of latitude and longitudes. It also takes some color properties and number properties, but if you were hard coding your page, this is how it would look. So let's integrate this into Makeswift. I'm going to go over to this register components file. So we've already registered the accordion. Let's register the globe. So React runtime.register component, and I'm gonna pass in the globe. And then we'll give it a type. These types need to be unique, so that way Makeswift can differentiate between the different types of components. We'll give it a label of globe, and then we'll do some props here. And inside of here, let's start with class name. So this style prop controller right here, this thing lets you move stuff around. So I have no idea why that's looking that way. I guess something is crashing locally. Well, live demos, guys. Let me see if this is something that a refresh is gonna fix. Okay. Well, we are not gonna worry about that for right now. I'm gonna delete this stuff, and then we're gonna drop in. Actually, I know what this is. I think I have a bug somewhere inside of here. Let me comment this out. What did I just change? In that globe. Okay. I think I had a bug in the register components and it was breaking stuff. So what I wanted to show you real quickly is that style prop controller, which I'm gonna add some stuff here. Is this ability to change the width, which why is this? Last time this happened, this was an internet related issue. All right, I'm gonna restart the app. Thanks, Miguel. All right, let's see if that works. Can we get a quick prayer? Please work. Better. What is going on? Never seen this before in my life. Okay. It looks fine in the live page, which is like why. The joys of local development. Let me see here. Is it because I did something in here? No, that looks fine. The conference Wi-Fi? I don't think it's gonna be any better. I was on such a roll too. This is so sad. All right, if this doesn't work, I'm gonna move on. The styles are broken right now. For some reason, Tailwind has decided to not work. That's literally what this is but the Tailwind classes aren't being applied. But we're gonna move on because that's not the point. You guys just saw how that worked. Hopefully by the time I get through this next part. So I'm registering this globe. It's got a style prop controller. But we have that array of locations, which are latitude and longitude values. And this is something that's important when you're working with somebody who's not technical, or you don't want to introduce surface area for things to go wrong on data entry. So rather than having them go look up a latitude and longitude, the way that I would recommend doing this is hooking into an API so that way you can geocode an address and then have that stored as latitude and longitude. So we would use this list control here again, and then we'll set the type to a combo box. So we have this combo box component that has a async or a get options method that takes the query. So this is a text box, a combo box. You type in a text, and then we can make a fetch request to this little endpoint that I've made. So we'll do search, and then set that to query, and then do .then, r.json. So what this is going to do is this is going to search, and then this little serverless function here is just a simple, all it's doing is hitting Google Maps' geocoding API and then mapping the results into a format that Makeswift understands, which is ID label value. And then inside of here, all we're gonna do is just set a label, and we'll call this address. And then we'll give this a label and call this locations, and then save this. And now I'm on the conference Wi-Fi, so let's see if this even works at all. Okay, if not, then we're gonna switch back over to the tether, which I'm gonna do now. All right, come on. The globe is not defined. That's why this is breaking, because I didn't pass in the globe. All right, let's try one last time here. So now, come on, internet. We're so close. Thank you guys for being patient with me here. Try it one last time here. Just to put in perspective, I prepared this demo like an hour ago, so, and I have not practiced it at all. Thank you. But I apologize for this. Okay, this happens when the request times out because the internet's being slow. Please, maybe if I hold my phone closer to the sky, will that help? Oh. It loaded at least. All right, Tailwind still broken, but let's drop in the globe and at least add some locations here. So we got the globe here. And then I can add in a location, and now this, I can actually type an address here, and then, I don't know if you saw that, the little pin just popped up on there. But yeah, so now that locations property is being loaded with async data, which is nice because if you have something like a headless CMS that you wanted to hook into, or any type of, internal database where you wanted your marketing team to be able to select an item out of a list, rather than having them go look up some internal ID and then potentially punch in the ID wrong, you can just fetch data directly from the panel and plug it in there. And yeah, so I want to actually show you how about this? Let's wing this. We'll get out of local development. The last thing I wanted to show you is the way that you build pages, because this is an important part of, I'll have to verify this. Cool. So we're gonna I'm logging into the production account here, and we're gonna walk you through what a production site looks like real fast. How much time do I have left? 5 minutes? 5 minutes, cool. So here we go. Since this is not hitting local development, I'm gonna actually take this page and I'm gonna rebuild this little team section here. So imagine, actually let me go over to the Makeswift site. This will be cooler to see. So if you go to www.makeswift.com, it's our new site. Just go check it out when you get a chance, please. We put a lot of work into this, but there's that globe component I just talked about. That is actually built as a custom component in our code base. And then we have all these interactive controls in the sidebar that you can kind of play with. But what I wanted to show you is how the rest of that page is managed inside of Makeswift. So hop over to this custom host real quick. And then I'm just gonna build a quick little section inside of that and show you how fast that we can do stuff like that. So here's the home page. We'll zoom in a little bit. So here we go. Here's the home page. And then each one of those, so here's the globe. This is like actually the mobile style, so zoom out here. Each one of those controls is a custom component that you can drop in here. So if we wanted to add in another demo, we would just drop in the controls here. We can space things out. If I wanted to build a section down here below, I can build that. So I would drop in a box here, text box here, another box here, drop an image, a text, take that, copy it, right, not there, paste it, paste it, paste it, and then, replace text and images. All of the spacing and whatnot is done visually, but we've designed this to be super simple. Some gap between the rows, some gap between the columns, and then if I don't want to use these components, I can actually come into here and take one of our custom-made components. So like that control demo, right, that we have up there. So there's the control demo. I can choose I want the width demo, or I want the vertical margin demo. And these components are all, let's see if there's another one. There's our tabs component right here. So actually down here below, you'll see that we have this component right here with these tabs. If I wanted to add a fifth tab, it's as simple as coming in here, adding plus, and saying hello, and then it'll appear there in the sidebar. So this is a quick little, this is what the user experience would look like for a non-technical user. I'm sorry that everything crashed right now, but we got through a good bit of it. The API is up now. I'd love to get your feedback. We have a booth on the backside near East Atlanta. We're hosting a Mario Kart tournament today, and we're giving away a brand new pair of custom-made V-Moda wireless headphones. They're like $400 headphones. We got 64 slots. It starts at noon. We'd love to see you guys out there. And we can do a little bit more interactive demo at that point. Thank you guys for watching and putting up with all this stuff, and hopefully see you guys then.